Hello everyone, welcome to Tactica, Imperialis and to today's video. Today is episode 70 of Adeptus Podcastus. Joining me as always is Remleiz from 40k Theories.
Hello everyone.
And our special guest this time is a returning, well I hope, fan favourite. It's been a long time, it's been over a year since we had this person on the show. I was still in France,
Really?
That should tell you how long ago it's been. It was episode 47, so no it's not quite a year, but nearly. So our special guest, all the way back from episode 47, is none other than Alfabusa.
Hello, it is I, Alfabusa.
I mean, technically we did have him on in episode 50.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
But that was such a grand schmoz that I don't really want to credit any... I want to credit everyone and no one with that one. It was just a mess.
That was beautiful. A beautiful mess with Ian Watts. Oh jeez. I can't believe Ian Watson has been a
Are we doing this again?
Yes, we
Are
are.
we doing this again?
Oh man.
It's the Ian Watson Ferris Manus catching a las cannonball while eating a sandcastle podcast.
I have
Yes.
forgiven David Geimer for that because his Hamilcar stuff is so good, I've forgiven him. So
Ooh.
you can't really get to me with that anymore. So fine, moving on. In the news this week, Warhammer Fest. Disclaimer, we are recording this before Warhammer Fest. This is Friday night and Warhammer Fest is Saturday morning start. So we have absolutely-ish no idea what's on Warhammer Fest. So everything we say about it is predictions and guesses from what we've been given. We are no way informed about what's going on. I need to get that disclaimer in there.
I
because
know
this is coming
one
out after
thing,
Warhammer
though.
Fest.
There's going to be a
What do you know?
shitload of Funko Pops.
Oh yeah, Funko Pops. We.
I mean, the live blog has started up at the time of this, and there's a giant pile of them in one of the photos as the hall's being set up. It's
Oh
nuts.
boy. Oh
And
boy,
the cynic in me
boy,
is
boy.
thinking that it will still be there on the Sunday. But that's just the cynic.
We'll see, I guess. I get the feeling that the Dark Angel will still be there, but the others might go.
Oh!
Whoa. That's quite controversial.
Well, it's not exactly a wrong opinion. Well, it might be. We'll see. Anyway, so with regards to Warhammer Fest, some of the things we know we'll get will be, well, I think the only thing we know we'll get, realistically, is Forbidden Power, the Age of Sigmar expansion, because that is pretty much ready to come out now, and Age of Sigmar 2 was revealed at Warhammer Fest last year. Other than that, I don't really know what we can get for sure, because we've had a lot of little previews with the Aussie Championship preview, which just talks a bit about Warcry and Skitarii, and we'll get onto all of that.
Oh yeah,
other than that,
we might get the reveal of the Qatari transport.
we might get a whole new Adeptus Codex.
Nice.
I hope not. Not already.
Or maybe a Skitarii Codex then.
Well, Qatari Codex would be interesting, I suppose. But weren't the Skitarii like fairly well covered in the last?
Well, it's
Mechanicus
interesting because
Codex?
Skitarii used to be a codex in 7th, and Admech were a separate codex in 7th. Then they got put together in 8th, along with some knights. And I remember when I made a video about it in 7th, saying that these two work really well together and they deserve to be together. So it'll be interesting to see what they do if they're going to introduce a new transport, whether they're going to redux the codex or pull Skitarii back out again. We'll see.
Yeah.
Also, please don't get mad at my pseudo-Latin pronunciation of Skitarii. I know it's probably annoying for 90% of you.
I mean, it's Pig Latin. All of 40k is Pig Latin. It's okay to mispronounce it as long as
the amount of people who lose
uh,
their shit when I say Legiones is just like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, the only
Tomato,
thing
tomato.
I know people get really angry about is when you pronounce Arbites as Arbites, which I can
That one does bug me, I'll give you.
I can speak from personal experience from on that one.
Yeah,
Arbite sounds like a kind of a snack. Have some Arbites.
Arbite.
I mean, it's the German word for work, is it? Arbeit? I think it's work in German.
So-
Oh, is it?
Instead of being the
It's a
police, they're
German
just
word,
the
I can't
Adeptus
exactly remember its
workers.
translation because I don't speak German.
Yeah, not me either. So
Though I think my grossest case of mispronunciation is hospitaler, like the amount of time...
Hospitaler?
Oh, damn it, Ray. Yeah, because I always thought I misread it as hospitalier for so long.
Oh,
But apparently it's hospitaler.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so that's just me misreading L's as I's. That's my most egregious pronunciation fail.
I guess it. I mean, at least it makes sense, and I mean, what you said, the way you pronounced it sounds like it makes sense in the important of
which is why I never questioned it.
Yeah. I heard
That's
that.
the other one that people get on my arse about. Oh, it's Abaddon, because people get really mad when I say Ezekiel.
Oh yeah, Ezekiel. Yeah. Ah, shit. That's also a thing we did wrong.
I think.
Yes.
I think the one that divides people the most, though, is how do you pronounce the name of the Ultramarines Primarch?
Rabute Gilliman.
Rabute Gilliman.
There's no accent on the E.
Rabute.
If there's an accent on the E, it's Rabute. I speak French. There's an accent on the E when you have the
I
A
pronounce
sound.
it Robert! Fuck you!
Because
Such a French name.
even with the Black Library audiobooks, I've heard Rabute Gilliman, Rabute Gulliman.
Gulliman. I kind of hate it when they mispronounce Gilliman, because I feel that's at least established.
Well, Gwilliman, I used Gwilliman for a while before I learned my lesson. So many easy mistakes to make.
Hey, Remleiz, you fucker, have you started pronouncing Tyranids right yet? Bastard, tell me.
Ow.
Oh, beautiful.
Remleiz.exe has stopped working.
And the answer is no. I'll still pronounce it Tyranids, like Tyrannosaurus.
God damn it.
I prefer how it sounds. That's my personal reasons. Who got the knock on the door?
It's
not
That would be me, sorry.
It's not Thunder, is it?
This is Thunder with a
No,
sword.
it's me. Give me a minute. I'm just going to go quiet.
Sure, that's fine. They're gonna let in a dog in here any second now.
Oh yes, your little Italian greyhound, isn't it?
Yeah, I recently gotten a very, very, very small Italian greyhound. She's only 1 year old, but dogs that are only 1 year old should have grown to like their like a size. Like they're not gonna grow much more than that. Yeah. But she is still like a baby, and I don't think she's gonna grow to any bigger size than she already is, because she's just a little bit smaller in every way.
She's the runt of the litter, isn't she?
She is very much the runt of the litter, and she is always going to be the runt of the litter. She's not gonna get like swole like yours did. Your Siberian Husky.
No, Malamute.
Oh, it's a Malamute. Okay, sorry.
Yes.
I don't know why I thought it was a Husky.
People make that mistake all the time. But it's because they look similar, but when you put him next to an actual husky, you can tell they're different, because huskies tend to be a lot leaner and slimmer, and he's built like a fucking tank.
Yeah. But he was the runt of the litter, and then he became fucking god of the litter, right?
He's the runt of the litter, and compared to others of his breed, he's still very small. He's only slightly larger than a husky in height. Yeah. But considering that Malamutes can get generally up to 80 kilograms or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
And last I checked, he was around 45.
Oh.
So he's a big tanky boy.
Yeah, he is a tanky boy. And he looks like a very good boy as well, for the record.
He is the best boy.
Yeah.
My dog is best boy.
I have just gotten a message from Aram Dembski-Bowden saying, I sure hope some Black Library dickhead doesn't keep messaging you to be distracting, Alpha. That's what I hope. I hope that, Alpha.
Are you going to reply saying, I'm in the middle of a podcast, don't be a Dr. White or a Thunderpsyker?
No, that's exactly what I told him that I was going to record the podcast now, so I had to leave. And then he fucked me right over. I shall destroy him like a
You sound like a jilted lover.
We had Slanesh last episode. Let's steer things back onto track, shall we?
I shall ruin this man's entire career.
Oh, that's a point. When am I going to get Ian Watson on the podcast?
Yeah! When are you going to get Ian Watson on the podcast? Fucks. Yeah, let's tweet him.
Anyway, sorry, before I got everyone distracted with, well, I started with languages and all that stuff. Should we get back to Warhammer Fest for a minute?
Yes, Ian Watson's been announced as a guest.
Oh my god, Ian Watson is called Inquisitor Ian on Twitter! No!
Is he? Seriously?
No, stop!
Oh, wasn't there a thing revealed the other day about how Stanley Kubrick wanted to turn Inquisitor into a movie?
Yeah, I think I read something about, or saw something about that.
No, Ian. Maybe this is my next movie. That's a direct quote from his website. This is something we found out about when we wrote. The next podcast thing I am going to be releasing is about Ian Watson's Inquisitor book, and we found out about this information in Ian Watson's own blog, and it ruined us. And we had to highlight it. So
we need to find the script. We need to find the screenplay that Kubrick wrote for it.
He got to like read the book, and before he read the book, he was like, "Who knows, Ian? Maybe this is my next movie." And no, I am quite happy that did not happen. To be entirely honest.
I mean, in fairness, if Stanley Kubrick directed an Inquisitor movie, it had the potential of being.
I mean,
watchable.
I guess he could have taken as much liberties with it as he did The Shining, and then it maybe would have been
the only catch there is that it would have probably been quite, because Hobby now is sort of a 12+ game.
Yeah.
Like it's not an R-rated or a high maturity franchise.
No,
At least in terms of how it's marketed. Some of the material is dark as sin, but it's not marketed like that. Whereas if you have that sort of a book made into that sort of a movie, it probably will change a lot of people's perceptions of the hobby, and that would have probably irrevocably changed the hobby. And we might not even be here having this same conversation.
You are totally right. I think 40K would have been completely different now if Stanley Kubrick...
Yeah, it would have stayed very sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Absolutely. I think he would have remained in like around the first edition era type of
the 80s.
Still. Yeah, it definitely would have banked on the 80s. I'm not sure. Like, I don't know if 40K would have been a lot more popular, if it would have died banking on not changing a thing, because Stanley Kubrick can do no wrong.
It's an interesting thought experiment, but I'm going to be thankful that it didn't happen, because it means I get to be here on this podcast doing all this sort of nonsense, and hopefully talking about something relevant instead of something that never happened.
Yep, that is true.
So, yeah, did you guys get through anything before I had to go and answer the door?
We were talking about dogs.
Okay, well, there's no space rule, so, okay, no segue needed. Actually, no, there was a dog. There was the Chaos Dog from Warcry in the previous preview.
I didn't see that.
Just give me a minute. Oh, no, it was more of a lion.
Yeah, I thought it was a lion, yeah.
Dog,
a lion?
Yeah, give me a second. I'll
it was the new model for lion.
No, it wasn't. Basically, it was one of the Warcry warbands, the Shamanite one. From the realm of metal, and they got a new war beast.
Does it come with the Warcry box set?
We don't know. Warcry's box set hasn't been officially revealed yet, so we don't know who's going to be in there or anything. So I get the feeling we'll probably see some Warcry info at Warhammer Fest. Maybe the official release sort of.
I haven't read up thoroughly on Warcry. Is it basically Kill Team but in Age of Sigmar?
I mean, it's written by the team who wrote Underworlds and Kill Team, so it will take cues from it.
I was under the impression it was basically like fantasy version of Necromunda in a way.
Oh. It's probably going to be a mix of everything.
Oh,
because there's different factions, like different types of warbands, isn't there?
So there's different Chaos warbands, and there's also groups from different races. So I've seen Elven runes, I've seen Stormcast bolts, I've seen death symbols.
Hold on, now I come in my severe naivete here. Isn't Shadow Spear kind of Necromunda, but in Age of Sigmar? Yeah, no.
Still plays by standard 40k rules, to my knowledge. So similar, maybe in like the Shadow Spear, like the Vanguard Primaris might be the nearest thing to a Necromunda operative that the Space Marines could have, but not really. But close.
I thought Shadow Spear was just a new starter box for 40k.
Oh, shit.
Oh, Shadespire. No, Shadespire's completely different.
What the fuck did I say? Shadow Spear. Did I say Shadow Spear? God,
you did, yes.
Damn it.
Shadespire is a hex-based
board game.
sort of deck-building game. Whereas Warcry, well, we don't know yet. I get the feeling it's going to be sort of Kill Team with a hint of Underworld and maybe a side of Necromunda for flavour. We don't know yet, and I'm hoping that at Warhammer Fest we get to see in full how at least the game sort of is designed to behave. Because it's got a huge array of factions, and it's all about, at least for the Chaos groups, working into Archaon's favour and trying to get to the Varan Spire, I think. And the Varanspire, by the way, is terrifying. Like, it's terrifying. I read about it in one of the books I read recently, and yeah, that thing is ridiculous. Like, stuff Mount Doom and the Tower of Sauron and everything else. Yeah, stuff that. We have the Varanspire.
Oh.
Is it weird that every time you guys say Warcry, my mind keeps automatically thinking to that Jurassic Park game on the PS1?
What?
Yes, that's weird.
That is weird.
Because there was a Jurassic Park fighting game called Warcry.
Oh.
Was it Warcry or Warpath? I can't remember. Leave a comment below, just in case.
Yeah.
Yes, please help comment.
The one for some reason where the Suchomomus was bigger than a Spinosaurus for some reason.
Why?
Because liberties, artistic license. Ian Watson, I don't know.
Ian Watson,
So
stop.
speaking of artistic license, while we're staying on this little Australian preview and what it leads into for Warhammer Fest, can I just take a moment for the new terrain that we're getting?
Oh, the Tomb King one.
For
What?
the Thousand Sunny, Stormcasty. This terrain is the most gorgeous terrain. It's the Dominion of Sigmar kit. It's a super modular sort of it's the equivalent of the Sector Mechanicus and stuff, but for Sigmar. And it's got ziggurats and pyramids and sphinxes and statues and pillars and braziers and
Yeah, I have seen some of it, and it looks very, very neat.
Indeed.
And yeah, I think that would work really well for like a Thousand Suns thing as well, if one would want.
Yeah, because when you see the architecture of Prospero, either in the artwork or in the Burning of Prospero board game, the board tiles for Prospero, it really has got that ancient Egyptian. Obviously, the Thousand Suns have got a huge amount of Egyptian imagery anyway. So yeah, it's really awesome. But I think my favorite thing about Forbidden Power, which is this new expansion, is does anyone remember the Dogs of War?
Yes.
No, not me.
Basically, the Dogs of War in fantasy were a mercenary faction that you could hire out, kind of like allies, as far as I recall. Ren probably knows them better because he was around when they were around. But nowadays, in Forbidden Power, they're introducing a mercenary system, so you can actually hire out allies, which breaks the standard Grand Alliance system. So you normally in AOS you have 4 grand factions, sort of like Imperium, Chaos, Xenos.
Wait, hold on. Fuck. Did you say Dogs of War? That's what you said, right? Fuck.
I did.
Okay. For some reason, I just thought of just dogs. Now I remember what they were.
I mean, there were such a thing as Warhounds.
Yeah, exactly. That's where my mind went.
It was just an entire army book of nothing but Warhounds.
No, yeah. Now I remember, and one thing I remember about the Dogs of War that I want to mention is the fucking skeleton units they had, which I was absolutely fascinated by. I remember back in the day. I loved them, and I really wanted them, but I think they were about to go, like, that line was going out of production or something like that when I found out about them or something.
It got Tomb Kings.
Tomb Kings before Tomb
We can't even say squatted anymore.
No. Kind of. I mean...
We have to say they got Britannia'd. Or
Tomb King, because they haven't actually made a reappearance at all yet, have they? In any shape or form?
Yeah, and they've basically been rolled into the Stormcast now, so rip.
Oh yes, with Citrus of the Imperishables.
Both Tomb Kings and Britannia, like, those were the factions that I collected in fantasy.
Ooh.
Well, if you want to play Britannia now, just go play Flesh Eater Courts, because that's how they see themselves.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I see. Yeah. Like the Flesh Eater Courts are...
I mean, they're the most broken army in the game at the moment, so maybe stay clear for 5 minutes until they nerf them in the next General's Handbook. But still, in terms of lore, they're one of the coolest factions in Death.
Absolutely. It's a really neat concept.
Anyway, I doubt most of our viewers are here for Sigmar, so I'll stop talking about Sigmar now. Sorry. But the other thing I think we'll get at Warhammer Fest, because we saw a hint of it before at AdeptusCon, I think we're going to get a full Apocalypse reveal here.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
With movement trays.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, movement trays.
Were they gonna...
We haven't seen you since War of the Ring.
Were they gonna return, like, blast templates as well for that? Or...
They brought them back for Titanicus. I don't know if they will for Apocalypse. Depends on how dramatically they rework the rule set.
Yeah, that's true.
It'd be like a 40k version of Endless Spells, but just explosions.
I wonder if they're gonna release, like, some, like... actual Titans, like directly from Games Workshop, not from Forge World for that release.
I mean, Games Workshop has form for doing that. They took the Baneblade, they took the Trigon.
Yep.
Plastic Thunderhawk.
There's something to be... Yes, also the Thunderhawk. But I get the feeling that the Titans are so inextricably tied to Forge World in a way that even the Baneblade wasn't. Like, Forge... If you had to name what is Forge World's shtick, most people would say Titans. True. First thing they'd say. They'd either say Primarchs or Titans, depending on which game system they've come from.
Absolutely. That's true. But, I mean... I don't know. I think it would be very neat to see a full plastic Titan, which is something I do not see us getting.
If they do make a plastic Titan, it'll probably end up being nothing bigger than the Warhound.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I do not see them releasing anything bigger, especially if it's plastic.
Are the Titanicus Titans plastic, just for the record? Because I haven't got...
Neither have I.
Not me either. Why haven't we gotten Adeptus Titanicus?
They sold out.
Because it's expensive.
They sold out when I tried to get the box set.
Oh, did they? Have they? Are they still?
I mean, yeah, Titanicus' Grandmaster Edition was so popular, it sold out. They relisted it, and it sold out
I think
again.
it's kind of... I feel like I didn't get it due to, like, a bit of fatigue. Because I really like that Games Workshop have released all of these specialist games. But I also kind of haven't really played almost any of them. So...
Yeah,
right, the Warlord Titan for Titanicus is plastic, yes.
Neat.
Okay, good to know. But yeah, I feel you saying about specialist games. I got a Shadespire Warband, but I've never played Shadespire. I want to play Blood Bowl, never have. Never played Titanicus, never played Necromunda. I would love to play all these games, but it's time, money, and opponents. There's just like, no, sorry. The only game I could probably can see myself going for is Kill Team, especially considering they're expanding that like crazy with
Kill
the new
Team
Elites
is
expansion.
the one I have played. Like, I have played a little bit of Necromunda, but I mostly played Kill Team. And Kill Team is genuinely a lot of fun. I feel like that's just the best one, in my opinion, because it's so easy to get into. It's so easy to just whip up.
Isn't it just the base game? Just
it's
smaller?
basically it's kind of a mix between the base game and Necromunda. It takes some of the fun, like, individual aspects of each model being, their own individual, and incorporating it into the standard 40k rule set, which is just a lot of fun, because you get, you bond with your miniatures a whole lot more. Like, they each become their own individual character. And when you play, like, if you were to play a campaign with these characters, they get to level up and everything, just like in Necromunda, and become more and more powerful as they go. And, you get to spec them. You have these little, like, specialization trees that you get to go down as you gain more and more experience throughout the game. It's a lot of fun. And I highly recommend it if you haven't tried it yet. And it's just, if you have played Warhammer 40,000 already, it's going to be really easy to pick up.
Yeah, that's good. The only critique I've seen, well, this is not really a critique, it's just playing devil's advocate, is as they've added in commanders and named characters and the new elites that have introduced the custodians and terminators and battle suits and stuff like that, there will be people, and I don't know if they're necessarily right, who would basically just say, you're basically not playing Kill Team anymore. You're just playing Baby's First 40k.
I mean,
it's not a skirmish game like people thought Kill Team was going to be. They've just dialed up the scale, and I don't know if that's right. I'm sure someone would say.
I'm not sure that's I mean, it is kind of Baby's First 40k in a way. Like, if someone were to get into 40k or want to get into 40k, I would immediately recommend that they pick up Kill Team before they pick up 40k now. Like, it's the point where 40k or Kill Team is just an easier version of 40k to start playing, if only because it's a lot cheaper, and you get to have these basically characters that you build, and around these characters you can start building an army and then get into the actual 40k tabletop. Now, sure, I guess someone could level the criticism that it isn't, like, it isn't uniquely kill team anymore, because there are, you can use a whole lot of different units that wouldn't fit in a skirmish or stealth based battle. But I don't know. On the other hand, I kind of want Custodes in kill team, because I have Custodes models, and that's what it's all about. It's about being able to bring in the models you have into the game, if you're already a fan of it. So they just create more alternatives for you as a player. So I don't know. That would be my counter argument.
Yeah,
to that, I guess.
I get it, and I think the fact that they've got more unit options in the game is a good thing. Though it depends on really what you want the game to be. If you want it to be a pure skirmish game, I mean, the same rules always apply.
It can still be
don't
that.
Play the expansions.
Yeah, it can absolutely still be that. Yeah, exactly. Like, I have the Commander Pack, but I have never played the Commander Pack, because the Commander Pack it kind of removes a little bit of that progression that comes in Kill Team, because the Commanders are just like fully already leveled up units that are just fucking powerful. Yeah. If you want a very powerful unit in your Kill Team that is already established or something, I guess, like if you have a sorcerer from your 40k army that you've had for years and you want him to bring him into Kill Team, Commanders would be a good way of going about that. But yeah, it's still just an alternative. You can just not play it if you don't want that in your Kill Team game. So yeah,
so
that's all I have to say about that.
So in other news, shall we talk about the Bandai thing yet?
Sure. Yeah.
Yes, so basically Games Workshop and Bandai, of all people, have teamed up to make, well, a bunch of 40k chibis and Space Marine action figures. And the chibis look fucking adorable.
Hey, hold on. You linked the Bandai Warhammer Our Powers Combined post.
Yes, I did.
In our little podcast Discord right here.
Yes, I did.
It's been expunged.
What do you mean it's been expunged?
Gone.
Error 404. All records expunged from library. What the fuck?
Ooh. Good thing I've still got the... I have no idea, but I've still got the page open on my screen, so...
Okay, don't refresh it.
I'm not.
Don't refresh it. Take screenshots. They cannot hide this.
Fine, I will post screenshots.
Yeah. There you go. It's still there. It's been expunged now. This is live.
Yeah, so I lost my connection for like 2 minutes, so I don't think how much you've already talked about. But in essence, it's a action figure Primaris Intercessor. It's like 7-inch height, I believe, fully painted, as well as I think, is it 5 different Imperial chibi figures? There's...
Yes, I'll post a picture of the chibis for you, which are of a Space Marine, Sister of Battle, Skitarii, Aversa Assassin, and Inquisitor, and they are fucking adorable.
They are really adorable. It's basically like taking the concept of...
It's not Grey Fax, it's the one from Dawnfall 2. Yes, I agree.
Like, these are very nice, and I don't know why they're like grey plastic. Do you think you're going to be able to paint them, or...
Maybe it's just the prototype they're showing or something.
Yeah, the larger Space Marine figure would come fully painted.
Okay.
So, I guess we'll see.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, the dog was just let in. The dog has been letted in.
Oh no.
Here is the dog.
Unleash the dogs of war.
The hounds. The war hounds. Okay, but yeah, sorry. I kind of missed up what we were talking about. We're still talking about the chibis, right?
Yeah. They said that with the action figure, it's going to be fully painted. And I assume with the chibis, they're going to be possibly... it looks like these could be just unpainted prototypes.
I just realized. Holy shit, I didn't... Oh, the fucking... the Space Marine. That's a reference to the Rogue Trader artwork. I didn't realize.
Oh yeah, because he's got the orc head as a grenade. Yes,
he's got the orc head and the beaky, and the same. Okay, not the same gun. The gun on the original artwork is kind of a weird arm gun thing.
I mean, it's a plasma pistol, which
It works. It works. It's not exactly the same, but it's the same enough.
They remade it, didn't they? They did a special like Christmas Fest 30th anniversary.
They did,
didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Did that one have a plasma pistol?
I don't know. Did it have the arm blaster? Maybe that would be super wacky. I need to look that up now.
It definitely. I remember the model. I just cannot remember what its gun was.
Yeah, I have the Rogue Trader artwork as. I purchased a version of it off of Warhammer Art because I am disgusting, and I have it right here. And he has like this arm blaster thing instead of a plasma gun or anything like that. And that's not a thing in 40k nowadays.
It wasn't the 30th anniversary model; it was the 25th anniversary model.
25th.
Got it here. What? It was a plasma pistol. In the other hand, though, so they've actually swapped it round. So instead of being plasma pistol in the left hand and a power fist holding the orc's head in the right, they've switched it round.
It's the same thing on the artwork, on the Rogue Trader artwork. It's also they switched around. Yeah, they switched it around completely. That's weird, but it's still a really neat reference.
Oh yeah.
It's a fantastic homage.
Yeah. Beat that fucking Funko Pop piece of shit garbage.
I'll be interested to see what the selling figures are for those two once they've both got sort of established. Like in 12 months' time, like which is selling better.
Yeah, absolutely.
My guess is the Sister of Battle will probably sell the best because, people like Sisters of Battle.
Of Battle. The Inquisitor will probably sell well as well because, anime face. So, yeah, I reckon.
Yeah.
Touche.
It's fucking adorable. They're all fucking adorable, let's be honest.
Oh, wait, it's back. It's back. The thing is back.
Oh, the page is back.
Anymore.
Yeah. To be honest, it probably crashed because so many people were looking at it going like, oh my god!
I think they removed it and re-uploaded it because there was some error. I have no idea what the error might be, but now we have the proof. We can find the error ourselves. We just have to, cross-examine.
I mean, I posted this on Twitter and my notifications have kind of blown up over it, so it could be... It could be down like their server couldn't handle so many people clicking the link or something. I don't know.
Yeah. It's really neat and cute, though.
It says that the bigger figure is also posable. So you can get it into hero poses whilst, in their own words, can't wait to get one on our desk, posing him in a suitably heroic poses while we practice making the noise of a tiny bolt gun firing within asterisk pew pew.
So basically the same as pretty much any high-end collectible Revel Tech figure or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And let's be honest, it's going to be an Ultramarine, isn't it?
Of course it is. I mean, who are you kidding?
Yes, of course it is.
I am... Have you ever... Hey, what's your opinion on the Primaris Marine helmet?
Well, the Mark IV?
Yeah.
I got no issue with it.
It's fine.
I am a bit bothered by it, if only because it doesn't look as nice and iconic as,
I think
Aquila.
If you wanted Mark 10, because Mark 10, at least outside of lore, like for us, the fans, is supposed to be sort of a mishmash homage to power armor down the ages. So the iconic head to use for it would have been a Mark 6, the beaky head.
That would have been neat.
I think
from what I've heard, this is supposed to be a reference to the helmets used during the Horus Heresy, most commonly used during the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, it's Mark 4.
Yeah.
It looks very much Mark 4.
Basically,
but the
Mark
reason
4,
you can't,
and that's the reason.
But you can't use a Mark 6 head is because of the neck guard. So the helmet has to also go with the Mark 8 style neck guard that the Primaris have got. So you'd have to rework the entire upper head area. The other way would be use the Mark 7. But I don't know. I think the Mark 7, it sets them apart from standard Space Marines to use an older style. And so after Mark 6, Mark 4 is probably the next.
I mean, in fairness, someone pointed this out on Twitter that because this is a Bandai product, it might have like an alternate head to swap out or something. So it might have an ultimate helmet, like a Mark 7 helmet, for example.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
Or a bear head or something.
These helmets are now, completely representative of Primaris Marines. But I feel it would ease the whole transition from normal Marines to Primaris Marines if they just slapped on the Mark 7 helmet. Honestly. Because it further pushes the point that Like this helmet further pushes. I mean, the Mark 10 helmet further pushes the point that the Primaris are a different breed. Which, like, they are, but that's not really what Games Workshop eventually will want. They kind of want them to become considered the normal Marines eventually, right?
More than likely, probably, yes.
That's the entire transition. We are in, like, the transitional period right now, and eventually they're, normal Marines and Primaris Marines are just going to be Primaris Marines, probably. And I feel like if they just slapped on the Mark 7 helmet, that would just ease the transition a whole lot more.
just wait for Mark 11 armor to come out.
Oh, yeah, Mark 11. Yeah, that'd be an easy way to just slip out of that, like, whole headache. I wouldn't have minded this as much, though, if it was, like, the Mark 2 helmet as well, because that one looks fucking sick. Right?
Mm.
Right?
Right.
Mark 2 looks a lot cooler than Mark 4.
What about Mark 3?
What I'm trying to say.
I like Mark 3.
Wait.
Maybe they've painted a lot of it, but I like Mark 3.
Mark 3 look like? No, Mark 3, yeah, exactly. Mark 3 is fucking amazing. What does Mark 2 look like? Oh, Mark 2 and Mark 3 look like kind of the same. Yeah, they look almost identical. Yeah, exactly.
Or you go for the Mark 5.
Or we could go for the Mark 1.
What, the shades?
Yeah, exactly.
Mark 1 is just shades and a top knot.
It's a lot more 40k. That would be very, very 40k. I would love that.
It's a lot more Ian Watson.
No!
But they don't make Thunder Warriors references anymore, so, well, at least in the modern era, they don't make Thunder Warrior references, unless they're trying to diss the regular Marines on behalf.
Oh, yes, it was the Iron Warriors who looked at the Primaris and go, hey, you guys remember the Thunder Warriors? Huh? Yeah.
That's you.
That's gonna be you in a couple of years, fuckers. Time to die.
But still not the best
anyway, kill. So, moving on. What were we discussing?
Chibis and action figures.
We were discussing that. Are we gonna wrap that up?
Yeah, we went through Kill Team. I'm just having a look through the news, because there is one other thing from Sigmar, which is the fact that the Squigs and Sylvaneth box set's already sold out online.
God damn.
But the Sylvaneth Battle Tome has been delayed because of shipping or some other issue. We don't quite know exactly what the problem is yet. So, yeah, that's pretty awesome. People really like Squigs and trees.
Huh. Okay. Alright. Huh. Okay. I mean, it's really nice to see Age of Sigmar doing well.
Yeah, AOS is, I'll be honest, like this, it's ever since the start of 2018 and the back end of 2017 when Malign Sorcery came out, and then they did Legions of Nagash, and from then on, AOS has been flying. Like, the lore has been amazing. And they've actually just been laying the groundwork, because Slaanesh has just come out, for Slaanesh's Escape. Because Slaanesh, for a long, long time in AOS, has been basically held captive.
I was going to say held captive in Ian Watson's basement.
God. Fuck's sake.
Held captive by the elven gods in order to extract the souls of the elves in order to reform the elven races. That's been going on for eons at this point. But apparently now, most all of those chains are broken, but the elven gods don't know, because these chains are still there, but they're an illusion created by Slaanesh to give the idea that they're still entrapped. But also Teclis and Morathi have started catching on, which is why there's so many Daughters of Cain being made. There's just like an assload of Daughters of Cain, because Morathi has realised and taking far too many souls than she's supposed to make more. And Tyrion is... No, not Tyrion. I keep getting those two mixed up. Tyrion is blind and useless now.
I thought Teclis was blind and useless.
And he's been taking... No, Tyrion's the one who's blind now. So Teclis has been taking piles and piles of souls and working with the pure like celestial light entities of the realm of light in order to create vast armies of his own. And they've sort of started laying the groundwork for Slaanesh's escape. And you wonder, well, if Slaanesh is going to escape in Age of Sigmar, and the two universes are interconnected, as Froven by Grombrindal in a White Wolf Ask Grombrindal letter, it's a thing, they're connected.
Yeah, they are.
what would that mean if they actually write Slanesh's escape into Sigmar? Are they going to do another surge of releases? Will they finally put out Fulgrim as a second wave of Slanesh? That they could have some really interesting knock-on consequences.
Really neat, actually, now that you're putting it like that, like the.
I mean, I generally don't like it when the two games cross over. I like to have my fantasy and my sci-fi separately.
Yeah, this is a big event in the warp, and they are no doubt.
Yeah, and that's
connected.
the thing, because the warp permeates everything, and since the end, I know obviously people like to sometimes forget the end times, but the end times happened. And the Skaven had a phone call with someone, I think it was Eldrad, and all that business. So yeah, I'll be interested to see if they go anywhere with that plot thread. But then again, GW is the master of setting up plot threads that are really like apocalyptic and doing nothing with them. For example, the Harlequin's great document, the book, is it the Book of Chegarak, or the book written by Chegarak anyway, that's within the Black Library, which has been locked away and its chains of light have been falling apart over the eons. And now finally it's open and the Harlequins know what they have to do, but we don't know what they have to do because they're not actually going to make it a plot point, probably.
They could.
I mean, they could, but at that point they're basically killing Slanesh or killing the Eldari, one or the other. And I know which one would be more annoying to some people, and I know which one would be more annoying to others. So
they just fuse them together to get Chaos Eldari. There we go, everything's all nice and jubbly.
Chaos Eldari, Dark Eldar, no. Fuck you.
all in the service of Iniad.
So, like, fuck, what was I gonna mention about that? I assume you've already talked about, like, the Slaneshi models. Those are old news right now, right?
Oldish, but I'm willing to say one more time. Wow,
Yeah,
amazing, ridiculously good.
I love them. They are really good.
The only thing they're missing is the mortals. Like, where's the mortal stuff?
Like
the humans.
Wait.
Cultists, essentially.
Like hedonites? Like
Yes.
Cultists? Weren't they?
Yes,
released,
because
were they
Sigmar, you have a mortal and a demon faction always.
Uh-huh.
So there's the Khorne Bloodbound and Demons of Khorne. The Tzeentch Arcanites, who are like the Zangors and a bunch of other stuff, and then you have the demons.
Yeah.
And then in Nurgle, you've got the Blight Kings and all the other Maggot kin, and then you have the demons. Slanesh has got the Hellstriders, which is an ancient unit of cavalry. That's it.
Okay, yeah.
So,
Hey.
shame.
Hey, by the way, this is kind of unrelated, but would you like to know how the Laughing God's name is actually pronounced? Because that has been, like, a fucking thorn in my side forever.
It's not something like Kekorak or something, is it?
I just went and asked Aaron, and Aaron was nice enough to actually go and ask, like, his fellow Black Library writers and see what they, how they said it. And both Gab Thorpe, Guy Haley, and who was it as well? Okay, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just those two. They say that it's pronounced Kegorak.
That's going to take some learning.
Kegorak.
That doesn't flow as well.
Keg or rack. Hard.
The Gorak bit I'll go with, but Chegarak. There is, I mean, in terms of accents, it makes total sense. Like in terms of like, there's no character on the C to make it a soft C. But yeah, ow, that hurts. That hurts to say.
Yeah. So like, that's at least. They might change it in like an audiobook or whatever. Of course, all names are fleeting things, as you know, Rubutigilliman has proved.
With like 8 official different pronunciations.
And counting.
Yeah, so it might change in like an audiobook or something, but that's how I've started pronouncing it, because they are the masters of my vocabulary. So
I thought you were going to say the masters of your heart.
The masters of my heart, the masters of my pets. So Kegorak, that's it, I guess.
Fair.
I've always pronounced it Chegorath because I don't know. I think it's because that's how, you know, it's kind of
Like
She's kind of similar
Shigarath
to
from...
Sheogorath from
Yeah.
Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
I feel like they kind of his name kind of permeated how I pronounced Kegorak's name. And yeah, I don't know. It's a name.
Speaking of weird things happening involving literature and all that stuff, Remleiz, you've been doing some reading.
Yes. Can we... I want to talk about the fact that Inquisitor Chevak killed a squad of Grey Knights with a baby.
That baby, here it comes. I've heard this said multiple
And
times.
did I cut out?
Now.
Brace
Did I cut
yourselves.
out?
So tell us about this.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I think I cut out.
No, we heard it. We heard the baby.
No, but you guys were talking. It came out when you guys were talking. Nothing came of my end, so...
Oh shit. Okay, fuck. Well, okay. So
But yes.
So Grey Knights
Yes.
were killed by a baby. How many Grey Knights?
It was at least 3.
At least 3.
Killed
Grey
by a
Knights.
baby.
The elite vanguard of the Ordo Malleus. Killed by a baby. Was it a blank baby?
It was a blank baby, yes.
Yeah. How did he get a hold of a blank baby?
Right, so basically, inside this inquisitorial fortress in the Eye of Terror, where there's some Grey Knights stationed for some reason, Chevak enters from a webway portal into this big, warehouse where all these artifacts are stored, because he's looking for something in particular. He deliberately sets off a demon alarm. Grey Knights come wandering in. He picks up this little box that's got a blank baby in it, and he points at the Grey Knights and goes, Shazam! and the Grey Knights...
What the
And the Grey Knights scream.
Sam?
And the Grey Knights scream. And it was a direct quote is, an unmanly scream.
Oh. Okay.
So it's like, you know those old Tom and Jerry cartoons where the woman's screaming because she sees Jerry? I imagine that's what's happening.
So, how close did he have to get to them with the baby?
About 6 feet?
What the
This must have been like an Omega double minus class.
It was classified as Omega minus.
Well, Omega minus is just standard blank.
Really?
But yeah, so the way the psychic grading scale works is you've got Alpha Plus, which is sort of like Magnus. But I think the Emperor's like a class above, or if he had a classification, he'd be like Alpha Double Plus. And Omega Minus is blanks. But I think there's some sort of thing with like some individuals who are like not just like annoyingly blank, but so blank and that it's
the standard blank is Omega.
lethal.
Standard blank is Omega. Omega minus is blanker than blank.
Oh, I thought Omega Minus was blank. My bad.
Because the negative ones are Sigma Tau, Upsilon, Pi, Chi, Psi, Omega, then Omega minus.
Chi. Oh, that hurts my physics brain.
Chi.
It's Chi.
Whatever.
It's Chi.
Chi, Chi, Chi. Chi, they're called Chi, there we go. Or Ki, if you want to use that pronunciation.
So he grabbed the baby from a box. Where did he have this box? Did he just have it with him?
It was on a shelf in this warehouse.
Oh, did he know that there was a baby?
Apparently he did, yes, because he was looking for it.
Oh, that was the thing he was looking for?
Yes.
Does it become plot relevant?
It does, yes. It becomes plot relevant later on, yes. Where he ends up fighting
the
the Lord
baby
of...
alive? Is the baby alive in the box?
Well, not by the end of the story, it's not. But
God.
but it was.
So, okay, why... I understand, okay, you need the baby for plot reasons, but why deliberately trip the alarm to murder the Grey Knights? Why not just take it and run, and then when the alarm goes off, you'll be already gone? Because the alarm was tied down to some of the other security systems, which deactivated for whatever reason when this alarm was set off, because plot convenience, I guess. It basically allowed him to bypass other security procedures so he could get to it.
Okay, all right.
Because plot convenience.
I am going to accept this. I do not mind a blank baby killing Grey Knights as opposed to probably a whole slew of people on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, it's no different to in terms of like actually what happens, it's no different to a Collectus assassin doing it. It's just that rather than the Collectus assassin, who also has mind-bendingly stupid combat skills and agility and all that stuff, it just has 10 points in adorable instead.
Yeah, exactly. That's
but the whole blank mind shattery whatever they actually do discomfort. That's just a blank.
I'll get you the direct quote in regards to the Grey Knight screaming.
Do it.
There was a momentary scream, unmanly and immediate. The blade of the warrior's nemesis force halberd shattered like a glass tormented by the highest of sung notes, the side matrix interwoven metal fragmenting explosively in all directions. Clute and Shevak could only suppose that the same happened within the Grey Knight's Terminator helmet because the huge suit sagged and suddenly became still.
I could just make a video of this, and I wouldn't have to satirize it whatsoever. I could just
I can highlight the specific points for you if you wish.
Do it. Do it. Why not?
Free content.
I'll just rip this straight out of the fucking book. I will credit whoever wrote this. Who wrote this actually?
It was who was it? Rob Sanders.
Rob Sanders. What other stuff has he made? I recognize his name, but I can't think.
Yeah, I know the name.
Atlas Infernal, I've of course heard about.
He did at least one book in the Beast Arises series. I know that.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Because he's listed on the credits for Beast Arises Volume 1. He did Sons of the Hydra. He did Cybernetica, Shadow of Eleanor, The Harrowing, The Honoured. That's in regards to 40k and Horus Heresy stuff. What else has he done? He done the Archaon novel from Warhammer Fantasy.
No.
The Karnak campaign, sorry. Yeah, it's basically the most well-known of his stuff. Oh, he did the
Okay.
an Inquisitor Cryptman story as well.
Oh, did he? Okay. Have you read more of his content other than Atlas Infernal?
I've read Sons of the Hydra because that's the one that has
oh yeah, that one.
The false Omegon.
The false Omegon on one of the Necron homeworlds where the Deceiver is trying to be Omegon and ends up being killed or being wounded by a demon blade.
So let's just say this is an author who doesn't mind playing slightly fast and loose with canon.
I don't mind that at all.
No, I don't mind that either. Just an observation.
And also, for people who think it's non-canon anymore, Atlas Infernal mentions the Illuminati.
What? Atlas Infernal?
Yeah, the Illuminati get mentioned. There's a bit in it.
Atlas Infernal fairly old, though, to be fair.
Well, it was republished in 2017.
Yeah, but then again, Ian Watson's video.
Have you seen some of the stuff that people cling to as being untouchable canon and that's 30 years
I mean,
old?
the book was originally published in 2011. So it's not really that old. It's only 7 years old at most.
Yeah, I'm not gonna...
It's younger than me in this whole...
I'm not gonna complain about that, though, actually. I'm not gonna go out and say the Illuminati doesn't exist in 40k, because the Illuminati still existing in 40k is fucking hilarious, and I'm actually not gonna...
Because there's a scene right near the end where Chevak's basically imprisoned in the Black Library in this big prison cell thing, just in this little library cubicle thing, writing down scripture. He sees someone talking to an Eldari, and he wonders, is that person a member of the Inquisition, or is he a member of the Illuminati?
Yeah, good. Fucking amazing. I mean, yeah, that's... I don't know.
I mean, considering the Illuminati is supposed to have access to the Black Library...
I imagine that if they brought back the Illuminati in this day and age, they would probably make it... they would evolve that.
They would call them the Illuminators or something.
Faction. They would probably rename them. They would rename them, first of all. Probably something in Pig Latin that is kind of like Illuminati, but...
Illuminatus, for example, yeah. Something like that. And then they would just expand upon it. Like, it probably won't just be, people who have,
self-exercised demons out of themselves. It will probably be a bit more than just that. I mean,
isn't the sensei their shtick, or is that someone else?
I think they're protecting the sensei.
From what I remember, the Illuminati were protecting the sensei while the Inquisition was hunting the sensei.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's
also, one thing I do want to point out, because I see this pointed out a lot whenever I've mentioned the sensei, to everyone who's saying that the 3rd edition rulebook says all the sensei were killed, it does not say that. It says while most of them were killed, 4 of them are unaccounted for.
4 of them?
Yeah.
Specifically 4?
Specifically 4.
That's interesting.
You know, four sensei, 4 chaos gods.
I reckon they won't bring the sensei back. I reckon the sensei won't be brought back because they're... I mean, okay, they're not that silly of a concept. I guess it's just the name that is a bit silly.
I mean, you have to admit, though, it was kind of a bit of a wink-wink, nudge-nudge moment in, the Last Council story when, Laurie Goulding put a chapter there called Sensei when talking about the Emperor,
What?
That was the name of the chapter, Sensei. It's like, oh yeah, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
What chapter? What chapter?
It was called Sensei. That's what...
there was a Space Marine chapter, or just a chapter in a book?
A chapter in the book. As in a storybook chapter in the story of the Last Council.
Okay. All right. Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fine.
And it was purely a wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I thought you were saying that there is a Space Marine chapter just called The Sensei.
I mean, there probably is somewhere, let's be honest.
I
mean, there's a Space Marine chapter called The Hospitallers.
Oh boy. There is a Space Marine chapter called The Dark Brotherhood, which is the best. I love that.
I can imagine they must have played a lot of Elder Scrolls.
I was going to say, I think that's an Elder Scrolls reference.
I'm not sure.
But speaking of the Hospitallers chapter, and considering the fact that the Red Templars use the fleur de lis as their chapter symbol, you will wonder if anyone's ever confused them with Sisters of Battle. So, oh yes, we got the Sisters of Battle here, we got the Hospitallers. No, wait, these are like 8-foot tall Supermen. I was expecting,
you mean in universe?
Yeah.
I know the fleur de lis is a thing, but the sisters usually embellish their fleur de lis a little bit.
I think it depends on what kind of person you're talking about. Most people would probably say, "Holy shit, Space Marines are real!"
Yeah.
Touche.
But I reckon if it was like, I don't know, an Imperial Guard...
Planetary Governor or something.
Planetary Governor who has had dealings with the Sisters of Battle before, and then they see these fuckers coming around with the fleur de lis. That'd probably...
We are the Hospitallers, we are here to heal you!
We're here to heal this planet.
Gonna heal you of your corruption!
With fire.
Burn the pain away!
Their entire thing should just be like surgical tools as weapons. They should just have like a lot of scalpels.
Chain scalpels, power scalpels.
Chain scalpels. Jesus.
This is not the angry.
But Grotsnik did have a chain scalpel, from what I recall.
Who?
Yeah, but he's Grotsnik.
Grotsnik.
He's one scalpel short of a med pack, because the scalpel's on his bloody arm.
I had a Grotsnik model. That was one of the first models I bought, actually. I didn't even collect orcs then. I don't know. I just thought it looked neat.
Yeah, when me and my friends started the hobby, the two of us went orcs. I went orcs with Wazdaka, and one of my friends went orcs with Grotsnik. And that was... Yeah. I still didn't get a Wazdaka model. I'm still a little bit sad about it, but I got to do some cool conversions. And Metal Grotsnik just broke all the time.
This Grotsnik model is still around, right? Like in resin.
Yeah.
It's still around, unlike the Nazdreg model, which was only around for one edition.
Why?
Because it was shit. Well, that's unfair. It's unfair. It's not as shit as the original Gazgol model.
I just conflated Nazdreg and Nazgul.
Oh.
What?
Well, speaking of that,
there's massive Bad Moon Orc as a ring wraith going, "Get the ring, boys!"
Do any of you agree with the notion that the Lord of the Rings models look still look like they're made in like 2003. Still like today.
Yeah.
All of them look like they were sculpted in 2003, but they're like new sculpts, like the Hobbit sculpts.
They're a little bit more uncanny valley than the with another sport to say compared to literal fantasy.
Which one had the really, really weird looking face? Was it the Gimli or the Legolas one that had the really, really weird face?
Legolas.
Yeah.
Oh.
I feel like they're maybe I don't know, like who have they put on the Middle Earth stuff now, because I feel like they
generally
know.
don't. The one thing that I have noticed actually is that they've sort of changed their crediting system, probably in response to everything that happened with Matt Ward. Is that most of the time they don't really highlight who sculpted a kit, who wrote a codex. So like, I've got this, actually just an example, I've got the Skaven battle tome in front of me because I just haven't have it in a corner. And if I look at it, it's designed by Games Workshop in Nottingham, with thanks to the faithful for their additional playtesting services. It doesn't say written, because it used to be you would speak directly to the codex author. Like they'd have interviews with Gav or Matt Ward or whoever was writing a codex about the codex that they'd written, whether it was lore or rules. And they sort of, possibly because of all the flack that Matt Ward got, they seem to have changed that approach, that they don't directly, they do with the sculptors sometimes and the painting team, but generally they don't credit the author of codices and rulebooks anymore.
I don't really like that, honestly. I mean, sure,
I understand.
I guess it could be argued that they're doing it to not get like a hate bandwagon rolling for a specific writer or like a sculptor or something, but at the same time, crediting is kind of important.
I mean, you could also argue at the other end of the scale that it's a way of the fact that they've changed their writing style, that it isn't one person who writes it anymore. It's a team effort.
That's true.
So I know Phil Kelly is the AOS lore guy. He writes a lot of it. And I know that Jeremy Vettok had a big hand in the elves because, well, with Daughters of Cain in particular, I remember them doing an interview with Jeremy Vettok. But I feel like they may have changed their writing style so that it isn't just one person writing it, that they work more as a team in order to balance all the rules up by working with the writers and so on and so forth, so that everything fits together.
I have a codex thing right here. Oh no! Wait, hold on. This one, the Gene Stealer Cults Codex from this year. I just want to check if they have a credits section.
It'll be under the contents. Is where I find it in my battle tome.
Workshop in Nottingham. With thanks to the Mournival and the Infinity Circuits for their additional playtesting services. That's vague. No, there is no. There is no credits like to any specific person. It's just to the Infinity Circuit and the Mournival, which are, probably a group of people, and they know who they are.
The playtesters.
But they aren't, like, credited anywhere, what I can see.
Well, I know they have lead writers when they do articles and interviews in the run-up to a release. They do talk to, like, lead rules designer or lead writer. But I do feel like they have changed it to be more of a team effort, particularly to try and make sure that the lore
is consistent,
fits. Because
That's
you've also
important.
the other thing you'll have noticed, and I think this is still the case. It might not be in the Gene Stealer Cults book, but in some books, the timelines have gone. Not the events in the timeline, but the dates.
Yeah, they just made it very vague, like, this happened in M35 or whatever.
Yeah.
To try and prevent it from people, like, hang on, this was here, and then that year this also happened. I think it's interesting that they've changed it to try and make it almost less hard to pick holes in. Mainly because, like, people like Remleiz and I are very good at picking holes in stuff. So, guilty as charged.
I mean, it's good that they want more consistency, of course. It's good that they're actually trying to improve upon the lore and make it more airtight, I guess. But yeah, no, that's a good thing. I don't know where I was going with that, except that, okay, that's a good thing. Sorry.
Yeah, fair.
But, have you seen... Now I'm kind of backtracking a little bit, but I just wanted to talk real quick, for no reason, about this piece... This thing. It's
What?
Bjorn.
Oh, the Middle-earth Bear Man
The
model.
Middle-earth Bjorn model.
What's
I know
wrong with
this
his
is a
face?
podcast, so if you're listening to this, I'd say look this up, because this is the like prime example of what I'm talking about when I say like they are like outsourcing, or they're placing the amateurs on the Lord of the Rings stuff.
It used to be the Perry brothers who did the Lord of the Rings range. I remember it was the Perry brothers used to do it.
It can't be them anymore, right? If they're talented. Because this is not very good.
Well, okay, caveat, not very good by the standards of what they
absolutely.
now do.
Like,
It's
okay,
good.
this
It's good
this would
design,
be
but compared
acceptable
to...
back in 2003. Absolutely. This would just be another release. But
Nowadays we have like Eidolons of Matland
there's-
and all the other stuff that is
it's
just
such
like,
a, there's
what?
such a quality difference between stuff in Age of Sigmar and 40k and then the Middle Earth stuff. Like the quality gap is way wide, and I assume that's just because Middle Earth just doesn't, you know, generate this much revenue. Simply, because, you know, Lord of the Rings in this current day and age isn't that like relevant in the, you know, zeitgeist or whatever. So it isn't generating that much revenue. You know, especially compared to Age of Sigmar and 40k, which are...
I wonder how long
entered
they'll have the
into
license
age.
for.
Good question. I wonder if they're gonna get to keep it and make models when the Lord of the Rings or Middle Earth series from Amazon like come out.
Well, the license is with New Line Cinema, who made the Lord of the Rings movies. So it depends on who like the licensee of the product is. I don't think the arrangement's with the House of J.R.R. Tolkien, or is it Tolkien? I think it is Tolkien, because they did clarify the pronunciation of that the other day. Yeah, but I don't think it's with his sort of estate. It's with New Line Cinema. So if New Line Cinema's not making it anymore, then they wouldn't have a contract.
Okay, so they're...
Well, I don't know. I don't know anything about contract law. That's me guessing.
Okay. If that is the case, then that's quite unfortunate, because when this series releases, it's probably going to become very relevant and very popular, and hopefully good.
I mean, all the old models.
Will still be there, but the stuff that will become popular through this series, Games Workshop won't get to capitalize on that by making sculpts of the characters or whatever, which is unfortunate.
I mean, I'm just best guessing. They may well already have a deal in place, and we just don't know about it.
That might be it. And if that is the case, then Games Workshop have, you know, all the eggs in their one basket, because they've got what?
Oh, hyper-cynical theory. What if they're deliberately gimping the new Middle-earth design so that when the next generation of designs come out, they look like a vast step up?
Oh.
That's me being hyper-cynic. I don't believe that. No. That's me being hyper-cynic.
But... That's ridiculously cynical. Yeah, maybe not. But it would be...
Let's
dig ourselves out of this hole and move on to something else. Yeah. Remleiz, have you got some questions? Because we've already been going for 90 minutes.
I'll bring up the questions. Question from Michael. Was the last episode of the podcast a nightmare for you?
No worse than 50, I managed.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
I know the comments quite like to have a little bit of a poke at my expense about how puritanical I can get, but it's like, no. Okay, look at it from my perspective.
And in fairness, though, we haven't made you head desk yet today.
Oh, look at it from my perspective. I'm going to be the plan, at least for me, is to be what most Americans would call a high school teacher, 11 to 16-year-olds. And part of the reason I get a bit is I don't really want to dive into that stuff because, well, I'm going to be teaching kids. And if they go on and find my channel, which they will, because that's just the way the internet works, well, the less that I'm doing that sort of stuff, well, the better image it sort of leaves. I don't know. That's just sort of been my logic in sort of like why I don't swear, or I try not to swear. Not because I'm a puritanical git, it's because I kind of, channel and public image reasons.
Yeah, you don't mind other people doing it.
Oh yeah,
you
go completely nuts, except when Remleiz is dropping C-bombs every 5 minutes.
Oh, come on, I'm not that bad.
I remember episode 3. You dropped that, and it was just like, whoa.
Was that when I was talking about the manager of my old Games Workshop store?
Yes.
Oh, he was an absolute... Yeah. Sorry. I'll try and refrain.
Accurate. Anyway, next question.
Yeah.
He was a dickhead. Anyway... have any of you read or listened to Warhammer Adventures yet?
No.
No, unfortunately not.
Do you plan to do so at any point?
Probably, if I get the, time.
Yeah?
It's all about the time.
If I've got an audience worth reading it to, I might read it for my own sake if I really am out of stuff to read. I'm never out of stuff to read. But... if I've got an audience to introduce at, let's say, a Year 7 class, which is age 11 to 12, then, yeah, that could be an interesting way to sort of introduce people who, have an interest in Warhammer.
That'd be really neat. That would be really neat. You fucking brainwash them, dude.
You can start with the upcoming Tau novel.
That looks dark. By the standards of what this series has been doing, that's got mind control shtick going on with the Tau, and it's like,
oh, geez.
Well, it looks like it might be talking about this super happy society. It's Warhammer 1984, but for kids.
Not interesting.
Or at least that's the surface impression I get about it, is that it's going to be kind of like 1984, but for kids.
But hey, have you read any of the Warhammer horror lineup yet, though?
I personally haven't, but I've heard some very good things about it.
Yeah.
Remleiz, Editions Flame.
The closest thing I've read to the Warhammer horror line was Requiem Infernal, which is a horror story, but not part of the horror line for some reason.
I've heard a lot of good things about that one.
Oh, it's a good one. It's really good.
Is it the audio drama Perdition's Flame? But I've heard really good things about Perdition's Flame.
Oh, I have not listened to Perdition's Flame.
Yeah,
you have, right?
I haven't, but people have confirmed in the comments that, yes, the Auto Chronos does capture a member of the Legion of the Damned.
What the fuck?
Now, bear in mind, this is a horror story, so imagine what happens next. I imagine lots of screaming and burning.
Probably. But, I have read a little bit of it. I read it in a stream with Snipe and Wib and Ernbill.
Yes, I was meant to be part of that, but my internet kept cutting out.
Yeah, it was too bad, actually, because it was, we didn't finish it, unfortunately, but it was very interesting.
What were you reading? Because I didn't catch that stream.
The one we called, what was it called again? Hold on, I'm gonna look that up real quick.
Okay, Remleiz, do a question while Alpha does his digging.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's already been answered, but I'm going to answer it anyway. When Fabius Bile cloned Ferrus Manus, did the clone come with human arms or silver special arms? He came with normal arms, and Fabius gave him full covered armor just to hide it. So he wouldn't wonder, why aren't my arms silver?
I think you'd sort of, if you, I guess the arms were just coated in living metal, but I think he'd realise pretty quickly.
Okay.
He didn't know.
Okay, wait, hold on. I found the thing. It was from the Maledictions anthology, and it was the last story in that anthology called The Nothings by Alec Worley. And that was very interesting. I think it was an Age of Sigmar story. We didn't get all throughout it. I think we got halfway through it, and we were throughout the entire story we were hold on, is this an Age of Sigmar story or is it a 40k story? We don't really know yet, because it could take place in either, but it's probably Age of Sigmar. But holy shit, it would be a really nice twist if it just turned out to be a 40k story. It was really vague because it was about this society that lives in a place called the Cradle, which is kind of like, I guess, like, I think it was explained as a horseshoe mountain range, is surrounding their entire like village and the place where they live, and they're not allowed to leave. They're not allowed to leave the Cradle, because leaving the Cradle is, you will attract the Nothings, and you will leave the Cradle of the who was it called? Not the Horned One, I think it was. Who is their I don't think it's their god, but their like immortal leader character. They do capitalize his name. The Horned Father, that's what he was called. And he is referenced throughout the entire story with reverence. We never got to the point where we figured out who the Horned Father was, but it was everyone was obsessed with not leaving the Cradle ever and praising the Horned Father and his throne, the Horned Throne. Give thanks to the Horned Throne, they say.
So it's Vault 112 then. Okay.
Yeah, when they leave the Cradle, because the characters leave the Cradle for a little bit, they get to experience the Nothings, which are some unknowable force, invisible to the naked eye, that start chasing them until they re-enter the Cradle again, where they cannot be harmed by the Nothings for some reason. And it was very interesting and atmospheric and had a lot of mystery in it. That's one of the things that I was kind of worried about when it came to, telling a horror story in 40K. Because while horror in 40K, that's like that's like peanut butter and jelly, they fit together really well. But at the same time, we know what a gene stealer is, for instance. Like, we know what the threat is, and we can read up about the threat on any given, wiki. And usually horror lies in the unknown.
Your brain can always come up with something scarier than what they can show.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like they did very well in this story, because this, as far as we read, this could just not have been like a Warhammer story at all, which I actually give it credit for. We didn't know what the threat was, only that there was a threat, and there was this horned king, the Horned Father, who was their leader. Well, one thing that we were like constantly like quipping about was, what if it turns out all of these characters that we assume are humans are actually beastmen? Because it seemed like they had a lot of like beastmen qualities, like the Horned Father, the Horned Throne. They had a lot of goats in their village, and they shunned witches. There was a lot of like beastmen vibes going on, but they were still a bit too human. But we weren't really sure, so we were like, holy shit, that'd be really fun if this is just like everyone is just a beastman all along. But we never got to the end of it, because it was a bit too
it's
long.
not like it can't be 40k, because one of the best examples of that is the Psych-Nuine on Tizca and Prospero. The Psych-Nuine couldn't get into Tizca, but once you left the shielding, you had it.
Yeah, it could just as well be 40k, because it was never established that it was beastmen. We as readers never got to know that it was beastmen, and the Nothings we don't know anything about either, because they're just like this invisible force. Could be demons, could be
Tau stealth suits.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say. Fuck's sake. I kind of want to finish reading it, only to figure out, like, just either to find out what is the, like, what are the antagonists in the story. At the same time, I guess if they leave that information hidden, it would work better as a horror story, because explaining things isn't really in horror's best interest. But at the same time, I, as a 40k or a Warhammer fan, kind of want to know which one of the cool factions that I play are in this story. Like, being a Warhammer fan or 40k fan or Age of Sigmar fan, you want to know the mystery behind it, if only because you want to know if it's a beastman or a stealth suit or whatever. But at the same time, if they tell you, the mystery is ruined.
Yeah, because there's a very good example of that in a story that I read. It was one of the shorts in the Gods and Mortals anthologies. Give me a minute while I just want to quickly check its name. It was a mystery book. Well, it wasn't. It was based on a witch hunter and his apprentice going to a city in the arse end of Gyron, and about how one of the soldiers had been, or the families had been murdered. One of the sons of one of the leading families had been murdered, and it was sort of like working out who. It was a bit of a whodunit, but a really interesting whodunit. Callus and Toll, The Old Ways. It's by Nick Horth. And so they go out into the forest, and it turns out that this entity that some people are blaming for it was what you might, I think, is what you'd know in Night Vault as the Briar Queen, sort of a really powerful banshee, sort of spiteful, witchy, spirity thing. And that's revealed, but she doesn't do it. It's done by one of the town guard, who is sort of the ally of the witch hunter as they go along. Sort of their sort of guide in the town. And the idea was the witch hunter knew all along, but the idea was to show his apprentice, who is from one of the backwaters of maybe Gyron, maybe Shamon, I forget, that just because you're familiar with something doesn't mean you should innately trust it. Just because you sympathize with this backwater town guard doesn't mean that you should believe their story over the Azurite asshat nobles.
That's good. That is very good.
And the Azurite nobles are total asshats, for the record. Total asshats.
Absolute.
But yeah, Callus and Toll, I think there's more than just that little one story. I think they have got proper novels for them. So if I get time, I might actually have a look into that because, interesting. But yeah, that's the downside of what doing a mystery story with a Warhammer setting is that you kind of have to put an answer in there, and horror doesn't. So it'll be interesting to see how they do tie it all together.
Yeah, just because you as a fan, as a Warhammer fan, want to know, while you as a horror, someone experiencing a horror story, don't want to know. So it's kind of a clash there. Yeah. And if you get to know that it is like, I don't know, a lictor or a some sorcerer, you know that you get all of the information at once you learn what the threat is, because all of the information about that specific unit is out there on wikis and in the books and everywhere. You can fucking buy a model of them. The threat is just completely abolished.
But there's something to be said for revealing the villain at the end, because there's something to be said about second readings, because sometimes
that's true.
Because you were speculating that it's Beastman. So if the reveal at the end is it was Beastman, you say, well, we worked it out because they dropped hints through the novel. Or if it's a complete twist and it's, God forbid, a Tau stealth suit, you can go back through and look at the descriptions of the nothings again and say, does that sound like stealth technology? Does that sound like high advanced tech as opposed to a spiritual entity? And you can start to piece together that the author was dropping hints for you if you were smart enough to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Arguments in every direction, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I guess specifically that part isn't something that it's necessarily a thing that is used in horror. Like, it can be used effectively in any form of story, and it is very interesting and very nice on a second read through. But I don't know. I guess it's I guess it's not necessarily a horror thing.
Yeah, I suppose so.
But it's still good, and I like it. Nevertheless, I guess we were in the middle of questions and answers, right? And then we just completely derailed.
It was an interesting discussion because we haven't had someone who's properly got into Warhammer horror yet, and even if you've only read half a book, that's more than the rest of us.
I really want to finish it off because it's very interesting and very mysterious, and I really like that.
Okay, next question. Mm-hmm. Let's pick
You had all this time while Alpha and I were talking.
I wasn't completely enraptured.
Sure.
Okay. Given that Perturabo in simulated combat managed to breach Dawn's defences and later with the Iron Cage managed to beat the ever-loving daylight out of Dawn and his Legion, if Dawn and Perturabo switched places in the Heresy, but the rest of the Primarchs remained on the same side as they did, could Perturabo have built better defences on Terra than Dawn?
Depends on how much liberty the Emperor was willing to give him.
Fair enough.
I feel like that's... Yeah, that's a very hard question to answer.
I think it depends if Perturabo was allowed to redesign the Imperial Palace into a defense, because the Iron Cage was Perturabo's own personal hell trap.
It was, yeah.
And he would have known what the Imperial Palace broadly looked like and will have had schematics of it, because, it's the Imperial Palace. And if the Emperor didn't allow Dawn to sufficiently modify it and change its defenses and just allow the walls to do their thing, then Pert would have known exactly how to crack it. He'd have had decades of planning how to crack it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I mean, the Iron Cage was specifically designed to ensnare Imperial fists as well, right?
Pretty much.
It was specifically designed to fuck over Rogel Dorn. So, I mean...
Accurate.
I mean... It's really hard to say. I feel like that's kind of a question that we can't answer properly, because that would just be up to the writers of the story if that is how the Horus Heresy would have played out. I don't think there would have been any particular difference between Dorn and Perturabo, because it isn't very well established whether or not Perturabo or Dorn are necessarily better than one another. It's just Dorn saying, because he believes that he is better than Perturabo at building a solid fortress. But that isn't necessarily true. So, that's a hard question to answer, right?
Speaking of Dawn, given what's happened in the Conrad Curse Primarchs novel so far, it appears that...
God damn it, do I have to put a spoiler warning for 10 bloody seconds where you didn't even give a proper spoiler warning?
Oh boy.
Goodness sake.
So...
could you not... we'll discuss the book in full next time when Remleiz actually finishes the bloody thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be messed around with too many spoiler tags.
No, of course.
Right, so we're not mentioning that anymore.
Right. Yeah, the Curse novel is for next episode.
You can come out then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any specialist games that should make a comeback?
Battlefleet Gothic.
Yeah, Battlefleet Gothic. That's it.
I mean, they've pretty much done all of them at this point.
I mean, you could make an argument for proper Epic, with the actual infantry and stuff as well, even though Titanic is kind of like Epic.
It's a spiritual successor.
Yeah.
I feel like, they could take Titanicus and develop it further, and it would basically be Epic.
I mean, they pulled Kill Team up in scale, as we talked about earlier in the show. Why not pull Titanicus down in scale, add infantry as well? They could do it.
Then again, I guess Titanicus does take place during the Horus Heresy, right? That's like the Horus Heresy thing.
Titanicus is Horus Heresy.
Back when the Titans had actual guardians and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, but didn't they say they were going to expand on it and have modern day version with Xenos Titans and stuff as well at some point?
I feel like they should do that.
I swear they mentioned it at some point, when they first revealed the game, that there was going to be expansions based in 40k.
I thought it was the opposite. They were going to be expanded, but they were going to stay completely to the Heresy era.
It could be both, in fairness.
I could be wrong.
I feel like setting that in the Horus Heresy era, only, is kind of limiting.
Agreed.
I feel like if they had placed it in 40k, they could have developed it even further and made it basically Epic, but new. And again.
Oh, that just reminded me of something. Actually, there was did you guys see the little Chaos teaser where they sort of hinted at a new Chaos Knight / Chaos Warhound?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's.
We were talking about Plastic Titans earlier. Like, that just completely went out of my head while we were having that discussion.
I wonder if they're gonna release like just a straight up codex for the corrupted.
I mean, they got an index in chapter approved, so they might.
I mean, if Imperial Knights can have a codex, why not Chaos Knights?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, I'd rather see a full Dark Mech codex instead, but that would be a lot of
that
note.
would be cool.
I think that's like the last faction that's missing. Like,
Yeah.
okay, not the last, but like a Kroot codex would be cool, but it's not strictly necessary.
Yeah.
Dark Mech is
but
the
Dark
last
Mech-
big faction.
Exactly. They
Yes, that's a
they
better way
are
of putting it.
referenced as a powerful force in the Eye of Terror. They have as much influence as the Chaos Space Marines does. So I feel like they deserve a codex as much as the Adeptus Mechanicus does.
Yeah, and I remember the amount of people who flipped out when Adeptus Mechanicus got their codex. It's almost
What?
like, wow, yay, Adeptus Mechanicus codex!
You
yeah,
mean
Dark Mech, please.
flipped out in a good way?
Yes,
Yeah,
they sort of like lost it in the best possible way.
That's good.
Hey,
That's good.
how about Codex Grots?
What about fuck you? What about
Diggers.
Exodites.
Exodites? Would be
Dinosaurs. Just dinosaurs.
I
Nothing
mean,
but dinosaurs.
they do have. I mean, they do have the technology, kind of. I guess
They have Infinity Circuits, so they could theoretically have Wraith
Yeah,
constructs.
they have the world spirit thing. I don't know. Like, I mean, what about?
Yeah, but
What about
you have to justify, like,
Codex
why would they be leaving their
Arbitrates?
worlds or whatever?
They're burning.
Hey, when are they
Or they've
going to
heard
release
the call of-
Imperial? When are they going to release Imperial agents? I wonder.
When are they going to release...
Well, the Assassins got White Dwarfed, as did the Inari, so I get the feeling they'll just be White Dwarfed.
No. What? No. What do you mean?
Hey,
No.
hey, when's the Sisters
As
of
in,
Battle
Index
Codex coming out, eh?
Assassins is in March as
Hey.
White Dwarf.
Yeah,
Index
well,
Yanari is in White Dwarf for May.
Where's my
So they're not going to get codices.
Where's my Sisters of Silence codex?
Good question. I'd like to know that one.
That was pretty legit because the Sisters of Silence have, actual models.
And they had a 7th edition codex.
Yeah, they did. They did. Kind of, sort of.
Granted, it was only available in the
More or
Towns of the
less.
Emperor box set, but still a codex.
Yeah, it's still a codex. I have it and everything. It's pretty
Thin.
neat. It's pretty thin.
It's about the same thickness as the current Custodes codex,
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
and nowhere near as expensive.
And nowhere near as disappointing. Okay.
Accurate.
Okay. Now, I'm just throwing a little bit of shade because the Adeptus Custodes Codex just completely retcon nude Custodes. Fuck. Bad. Not good. Why did they do that? That's
Yeah,
very,
yes, I'm sure.
40k of them.
I'm sure a certain tabletop boy was very upset by this news.
No, he was very happy because the tabletop boy Supreme's Hurtens Dragonblade. He hates nude men.
What?
He only wants cool robot boys.
I take you missed the tabletop
Big
boys video,
shoulder
Michael.
pads.
I'm confused.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
I won't. Let's have another
How's Charles,
question.
by the way?
Fucking in the dark place. Okay, moving on. So
Do you want to
next
use a
question.
command point? Sorry.
I want to use the command point to go to the next question.
Good use of that.
Okay. With many Space Marine chapters producing their own weapons from nearby Forge worlds, however, in the Salamander Omnibus it is shown that Salamander main character creates his own swords and blades. Do you think other Space Marine chapters do this?
The salamanders are very rare in that they are like
Forge
forge
masters,
masters and they're
yeah.
trained for it
Yeah.
like their entire lives. But there will be some who can do it. Not many, but some.
I can imagine the Iron Hands
Like-
forging their own weapons and stuff.
The Iron Hands, probably, yeah.
Who are also getting a named character, let's be
Oh
fair.
yeah, how did we forget
That's
that?
very neat. That's very neat.
It's like
We got distracted. a
the
lot.
first Iron Hands character not named Ferrus Manus.
Yeah. That's a very good use of the whole Primaris Lieutenant shtick.
And he's got like a heavy bolter on one of his mechadendrites.
Yeah. But I
And
mean,
a metal mustache.
Introducing new characters to chapters that are kind of left in the dust.
The other way they could do it is I am unsure whether that's going to be Karda and Stronos upgraded.
Oh.
Because Karda and Stronos is their sort of...
Apparently,
He's
from
their
what I've seen, it's going to be Ferios, the Master of the Forge.
Okay.
What
Wait,
an interesting naming convention.
Yeah. Is he a character from before, or is he?
Yeah, he was. Try and find. Oh, was it? Oh, where is it? Not Ferrous Ironclaw. No, not him.
Good grief, these naming conventions.
In fairness, Ferrous Ironclaw was an Iron Warrior.
Oh, yeah.
Try and find him. What was his name? Is that Furios or Ferios? It was began with an F. Oh bloody hell! Where is it?
Furioso.
Furioso. Yes.
Wrong chapter.
No, it's just called Phyros. Sorry.
Phyros.
Yeah,
F-E-I-R-O-S.
and he was first mentioned in the Clan Rokan supplement.
Oh yeah, that was a thing.
That was a good read, actually.
That was it was kind of surprising that
It's like the Iron Hands of all people get a supplement.
Not only did they release an Iron Hands Codex supplement, they released one specifically dedicated to a singular company within the Iron Hands.
Yeah.
I mean, they did the same thing for the Imperial Fist with the Sentinels of Terror.
Was that? Oh, really? Really?
Yeah.
Was that?
The Sentinels of Terror is the third company of the Imperial Fist. It was kind of Lysander's story at the same time.
I mean,
but it was mainly based around Tor Garidon in the third company.
Yeah. What the fuck was going on in 6th edition? They released Wa Goskul. They released Champions of Fenris.
Farsight Enclaves.
Homunculi Covens.
Crimson Slaughter.
Yeah, Crimson Slaughter. Yeah. Black Legion, which that one was apparently very bad.
In Eandon. Farsight Enclaves.
Eandon. What the fuck was going on in 6th edition?
Codex bloat.
Codex bloat
That's
as
what.
fuck. Like, goodness gracious. I feel like they've nailed it a bit better in 8th edition.
Yeah.
As long as you're keeping up with the FAQs, we talked about it a bit last time. It's like there's so many FAQs now. Instead of Codex bloat, it's FAQ overload.
Oh yeah, that's probably not.
It's the FAQ.
Yeah.
Oh, that's atrocious.
That. I will destroy you.
Oh, it wasn't that funny. Jesus Christ.
Time to die.
Sorry, my friendship group is really good at terrible puns, so that's just... Oh, dear. Anyway, moving
Right.
on.
A lot of pictures of Rogel Dawn show him with a beard, but are there any official stories or pictures that show him with one?
Doesn't his model have a
Nope.
beard? Oh, no,
Clean
no.
shaven.
Wait, what?
And his art.
Sorry.
And his main artwork.
Nope, it's
does
clean
that.
shaven.
What was it? A beard? Yeah, no, that's a fan thing.
That's your fault.
Entirely. That's to be. No. Okay, so here's the thing. We did it because others were doing it online because we thought it looked pretty neat. And when we did it, everyone just assumed that's like canon, which it isn't. But I mean, we wanted to take some liberties. I mean, Lehman Russ has both a beard and gray hair in TTS, and that's just kind of canon. It was actually it was mentioned that his hair started like whistle and become gray when in the Lehman Russ Primarch's book.
Wasn't it also mentioned that his
towards
hair
the
was
end.
red at one point?
Yeah, no, his hair has like always been red.
Yeah,
Right.
but in his artwork, he's blonde.
No, wait, yeah, shit. In his fucking artwork, he's blonde. Yeah, that's right.
What's his model's hair
Blonde.
color?
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah,
blonde.
grey.
But it's like with Sanguinius, he's always depicted as blonde, yet in Horus Rising, he's got black hair.
Oh yeah, that
Horus
was
Rising
weird.
was the first book ever, so
Yeah.
creative liberties were
Yeah,
taken.
and Sanguinius having blonde hair, it just feels right to me because it's, a bit more, typical angelic type of deal.
And Lehman Russ is ginger, which means he has no soul.
Oh,
Accurate. No wonder he was sent to
Wait.
the Thousand Sons.
Yeah. Fucking bad. So
To all our redhead viewers, we apologise.
Yeah, we're terribly horribly
Yes.
sorry. So
Yeah, that.
where were we?
should just move on before we dig ourselves any
yeah,
deeper into this
yeah.
hole.
Anyway, Rogaldorn having mutton chops is not actually canon, but it should be.
Yeah.
That's it.
That being said, I'm not a big fan of Sanguinius having the big sausage curly hair.
Sausage hair.
It looks like he's got sausages.
Sausage hair. Oh, sausage.
I'm sorry, but his hair looks stupid with those curls. I'm sorry, but it does.
Oh, goodness gracious. We apologize to all sausage hair people listening to this.
Right. Did I disconnect again?
Question? No.
Fuck's sake.
No.
How are Reavers not close combat specialists?
Because nothing in Primaris really is, and because if you want to be a close combat specialist troop, you kind of need some defense. Like, armor, or a shield, or
Do you
a
reckon
stealth
Primaris
system.
will ever get a assault troop? That's not just...
I really hope they do. I'd love to see, Primaris, the dude, I keep forgetting, not Intercess, the other ones, the flying dudes. I'd love to see them with, blades instead of bolters. Inceptors, thank you. I always want to see them with, blades instead of bolters, or, coming down for, a Doomfist-style ground
because,
pound.
the two jump troops they have, one's got two sawn-off heavy bolters, and the other one's got a big autocannon thing.
Big gun.
I understand melee is not the most practical thing to do.
It's cool.
Come on.
It's 40k.
You're a
It's
space
supposed
marine.
to be 40k. It's not supposed to make sense.
True.
So, at least they have knives, I guess. But
So do the Tau.
Yeah, but the Reavers know how to use their knives, though.
Yeah, so,
It's not just ceremonial. It's which end do we stick him with? I think you stick it with the pointy bit.
So, yeah, I feel like they should probably make some melee Primaris units that look pretty rad.
So aggressors with big,
Just
chain
like
fist lightning
very-
claws.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Steal
very
Tybross's gimmick.
Big, very big chain
I mean, they're
swords.
already Kenturian ripoffs. Why not make them full-on Kenturian
Yeah,
ripoffs?
why not? Just give them... At least they have a grappling hook.
Oh god, I forgot about the grappling hook model. It's that must be a pain to transport around to play a game with.
Yeah.
You can imagine it just snapping in your box.
Yeah.
I mean, great for a
Yeah,
diorama. If you're
on
making
the whole
dioramas,
world.
great, but
90% of
Yeah.
the
No.
Yeah. So, what was the question?
about Reavers, why aren't they close combat specialists? But anyway, next question. Question from Michael: how do the Tau Empire and the Enclave view Farsight? I swear we've had this one a few times before now.
In some variant or another, we probably have, but here we go. The Tau Empire view Farsight, well, they don't know he exists half the time. He's a fallen hero, a lost hero who's dead. In the eyes of the Ethereals, he's a traitor because he ran off, but he actually didn't defect and so on and so forth. In the eyes of the Enclaves, he's kind of their hero. Not a god, that's a very different thing. He's just sort of he's the one who's their overall commander. There are no Ethereals anymore. He founded the Enclaves, kind of by accident. So, yeah, he's kind of their pseudo-spiritual leader and their sort of best fighting hope for the future, whereas the main empire either doesn't know he exists, is killed for knowing he exists, or are the Ethereals who are dead anyway, so that's fine.
Yeah. Fuck.
I've got my lore video came out on Saturday for Tau battle suits, and I admit it was as the nearest thing to a lore flex that I've ever done. Just like, yep, I know my Tau. Here you go. Have some fun.
What's Farsight's actual name?
Chateau Viola Chauvet Case Montier.
Good man. Yep.
Or Cayuse. It could be Cayuse. Cayuse is kind of mistranslated sometimes.
I say Kais personally, but
I say Cayuse, but I don't say Caius, no. Because Cayuse is how I always think of it.
I think I say Kais or something.
Yeah, Cayuse is how they say it in Dark Crusade. So that's how I always say Cayuse is how I always pronounce it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Alright.
Okay. Can the Thousand Suns create new Marines, or did the rubric affect Magnus the Rest's gene seed?
Haven't you done like a video about this, Rem?
Huh?
Haven't you done a video about this, Rem?
I did, yes, but I need to update it at some point because the audio quality is shite.
But is the law still correct?
There is some additional information I still need to add, because a lot of the information I did from the William King Space Wolf novels, but I need to add the stuff from the Araman novels and such as well.
Yeah.
Maybe the Thousand Suns Codex? That wasn't released then? Or was it?
Not at this point, no. No.
The Araman series predates the Thousand Suns Codex.
Oh yeah, it does. But I was thinking if that one had any...
But I've seen some people saying, why can't they just get new genes seen from Magnus? Because Magnus is a demon. He has no genes anymore. He's warp energy now.
Then again, I guess they could just say, "Oh, Magnus makes more because he is magic."
True.
He makes gene seed out of work.
If Ashes of Prospero is anything to go by, because there was all those time-displaced Thousand Suns still fighting in the Horus Heresy in present day, and as soon as they stepped into modern day, poof, they turned to dust. And then Jarl Stormcaller started laughing, going, "Ha ha, all is dust, ha ha." It's like, Jesus Christ, that novel was bad. It really was a bad novel. I mean, Lucas the Trickster was turned literally into Bugs Bunny.
Wasn't he always?
No, like ramped up to 11 here.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. What's next?
Yeah. Right. I have an idea for a Warhammer/hobby video, but I only have a phone for recording. Should I just get started now, or save and invest in proper equipment? And as a second question, do you have any advice for someone just starting out?
Well, I actually started my channel on a phone. Like all of my early content was recorded on a phone or a tablet, edited within YouTube's own capture app, and then just uploaded directly. So you can build a channel as long as you're not planning to do any fancy editing. Like if you want to do like clever edits and the stuff that you see Rem or Alpha particularly do, you're gonna need some decent kit. If you're just wanting to record something, you can do it on a phone. Like phones have got ridiculously good camera quality most of the time these days. Don't expect the audio quality to be any good, but the video quality will be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of things you can do to improve quality in general when it comes to audio, even if the audio is kind of not great, like on a phone. For example, sitting in kind of a cramped space instead of, having this massive room echo. And you can, pop the audio into Audacity and play around with a bit of, filtering and improving with equalization and stuff to make it more palatable. You can remove noise with Audacity as well, which is always a nice thing for any audio. Like if you want to improve, if you want to go, spend some extra time on stuff like that, that is going to help if you really want to, do a YouTube thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be fair, like my channel runs off of my PC's inbuilt camera and a microphone I didn't buy for 4 years, and I still get flack for my sound quality, so it's not a case of better kit equals perfect quality. It's a lot of it comes down to your editing and things like that.
Absolutely.
And in terms of, and this is part of your second question, is sort of the idea for getting started. What I've always said is, don't just copy find a niche and run into that niche.
Absolutely.
So like, you two are prime examples of finding a niche in the market and exploiting the heck out of it until you became world famous.
Thank you.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, personally, but hey.
I mean, you have a global audience. You are technically worldwide famous. Technically. You two have got like 2 of the biggest channels in the entire community, barring about maybe 3 people. So, yeah, I think you kind of qualify. Whereas I bounced around for years doing different things, like Codex reviews, battle reports, until I found my lore niche a couple of years in.
Yeah.
I didn't really go anywhere. I found the niche of being able to write lore scripts that sounded like they weren't put together by a 10-year-old, and I ran with it. And that's how I made my channel. It's not good artwork. It is good artwork. The art I use is fantastic, and full credit to all those artists. They do an amazing job.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not high quality editing. It's not high quality audio. It's good information put together in a well presented way. So find a niche. Doesn't have to be lore. Could be models. Could be painting. Could be gameplay.
Absolutely.
Whatever. Find a niche. Run into that niche until it stops sticking, and then innovate. You have to innovate, or you just stagnate and die.
Yeah, quality isn't important. Isn't the most important thing. It's innovation and originality and finding a niche. Those are absolutely the most important things when you want to stand out in the cesspit that is YouTube and its recommendation system. That's it, right?
One thing I'll also try and say is, especially early on, if you are making YouTube videos, if you want to grow, try to upload on a fairly consistent basis.
Doesn't have to be regular. It doesn't have to be like every day, but at least be consistent with your schedule.
Yeah.
Hello.
I mean, you don't have to see what Alpha's done, but like we wouldn't have got half as far as we did without a weekly lore video. I'm writing 5,000 to 8,000 words of script a week, just to get those lore videos out. And you've got to be willing to put that time in to be consistent with your schedule. It doesn't have to be you upload every day, because I can't do it. I tried, I failed.
Yeah.
I mean,
quality.
I will say that it's actually quite a lot of hard work for me just to pump out 4 videos a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, quality will save you from an irregular schedule, cough TTS, but it won't. But quality and regular uploads are the 2 main things. Quality alone will not be enough. A regular upload schedule alone will not be enough.
I wanted to mention like an example of this that is very much unrelated to our entire thing, like 40k, but I really like Pokemon. I watch Pokemon YouTubers now and again, I found this guy recommended recently for doing specifically finding a niche in doing just the craziest shit that you can do in Pokemon. And like, for instance, he grinded up one of his Pokemon to level 100 by only killing shiny Pokemon. Like, only getting experience from fainting shiny Pokemon. That's a niche.
I was going to say, that must have taken about 6 years.
Something. It took a long time for him. And the thing is, his video, it didn't really have that much quality. He recorded with his phone, I think, he didn't even have, like...
a capture card.
A capture card, exactly. He didn't even have a capture card. He just recorded the screen of his 3DS as he was playing, and he was just commenting, and he just put together like a montage of him going from month to month in like an update style format. Like, update, it's been 6 months, I've gotten to level 40, and yet that video and him, like, he grew like instantly, exponentially, like he just exploded very fast due to finding a very unique niche that not many people would even think about doing. So that's an example of quality not being as important as finding a niche, I would say.
Yeah. The only other thing that I would add is, and this is a difficult one, is teamwork. Because I take for granted, well, I don't take for granted, but I I struck so lucky that I pinged Remleiz a DM when I had 1,000 subscribers saying, hey, Rem, I had a theory idea. Would you mind? And I'd never spoken to Rem before, never even commented on his channel. And he was just like, yeah, I'm in. And that video now has like 100,000 views. And that video and the subsequent this podcast that came off the back of that from working with Remleiz blew my channel up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this was when Remleiz, you had what, like 40,000, 30,000 at the time?
I think it was about 30. No, it might have been about 25 to 30,000. Yeah.
Yeah, like, you were massive by that standard. So finding people who are willing to work with you, and I think one of the best examples that we've had recently is the Warp Time Radio team, who we've had on this podcast quite recently. I've just been on Warp Time Radio, and Rem is going on Warp Time Radio soon. So those guys came, basically just got a big buzz going in the Twitter scene. We took notice, we caught their attention, invited them on the show, and hopefully we've done something to help their show. And it's sometimes...
I've just started noticing them on Twitter. They're very active on Twitter, and I just want to say like I just followed them because they seemed like very like nice and stand up people and very like healthy for the community to have. And I feel like those kinds of people are just people I really want to have in the community, to be representative of the community. Just very nice, friendly people that just want to have a good time with.
Just don't poke the Scarlet, is all I'll say to that.
Oh, wait, what do you mean?
She's got a few Twitter rants that you may have seen, that's all. But yeah, they're great people to work with. I've worked with them twice now, and they are a really good team. And there's a load of other smaller channels who basically get a kick into gear from working with other people. So whether it's people of your size who are just starting out. So there's a channel that I worked with right when I got started. Commissar Warwick. I don't think he uploads anymore. No, he doesn't. But I worked with him a lot in my early days. And we basically just chatted about guard stuff. And like around the time 7th edition was coming up. And that channel gave me a huge boost. Just the early days of getting started. So find channels of your size, talk to them, and try and set collabs up. As much as we're huge YouTubers by comparison, we're not that big in the grand scheme of YouTube, but as members of the community, we've got a lot of followers now, whether it's you guys who are in 6 figures and people like me who are in 5 figures. Yeah. It is something like, we're not unhuman. I mean, my character's a Tau and Remleiz is a pseudo-tech priest, but we're still human. We are willing to be talked to as long as, and this is something I'd say about business emails, and this is a huge side tangent, but I will almost objectively ignore any business email that just seems like a circular. Like, if it doesn't mention the channel's name, if it doesn't mention anything about what we do or why they've come and spoken to me in particular, I'll ignore it as a circular.
Like those ones that just say things like we've seen your videos on your channel and we think you do an amazing job. Would you like to promote this amino app?
Oh, I loathe that. Oh.
Exactly. So if you're going to reach out to us, don't do it on a circular. If you want to work with us, tweet us personally or send us a DM or whatever and say, hey, this is what I want to do. This is why I've chosen you. Are you interested? And if we've got the time and the resources to help you, we will try and do so. Even if it's just spreading the word, even if we don't work with you directly. So, yeah, there's a few things, and I realize that was as big a tangent as the horror one, but there you go.
It's fine.
At least this one was productive.
Yeah. And given the time, do we got time for one more question, or do you want to end it there?
No,
go for it.
Okay. When Malcador is showing Horus's true power, Malcador threatens to end him. If Malcador had actually killed Horus, would the other Primarchs have accepted this, or would they have killed Malcador, or tried to, in retaliation for the death of Horus?
Who else was there?
Jagatai and Alfarius.
Alfarius probably would have tried.
Yeah. I feel
Jagatai, I think, might have taken it better.
I feel like if they had killed Malcador, that probably would have still been worth it.
it'd be more of a case like, considering that Malkador just effectively force-choked Horus, could the others even get close enough to him? You got to wonder at that point.
Yeah.
I could see Alfarius trying something like that. Like Alfarius is there, and Omegon is actually there as well, and sneaks round the back whilst Malkador's distracted by killing Horus, for example. Like I could see Alfarius Omegon trying. Khan, I couldn't, because Khan sort of knew that he was going to end up dead at the end of all of this. Like that conversation with Horus at Ullanor. Like, there'll be no use for us when we're all done.
Oh man.
Actually, Sanguinius's reaction.
Has it been established that Malkador is like, or I guess that is the thing that is like the section that does kind of establish that they are powerful enough to destroy something like a Primarch.
Well, again, that was from the story of the Last Council. There was a scene, basically, where after they started tearing down the statues of one of the lost Primarchs, and Horus, Alfarius, and Jagatai storm into Malkador's office going, "Why the hell are you taking our brother's statue down?" And Malkador's like, "Oh, because the Emperor deemed it." What my brother's name was? No, you're not saying it. Was it? His name was Force Choke, bitch. And then both Alfarius and Jagatai were like, okay, you can stop now. You're killing him. Dude, stop!
Oh, jeez.
And
I think the only...
All because Horus wanted to say the name of one of the lost Primarchs.
Oh, man.
You know whose reaction I'd be most intrigued to see?
Yeah?
Sanguinius. Because Sanguinius and Horus were like that. And Sanguinius is objectively, in most people's opinion, the most powerful Primarch. Like, even beyond Horus. So, if Sanguinius flips on Malkador, suddenly the Emperor's got to think, hang on a minute. Now we have a problem. Because if Sang goes, he can probably pull the rest of the Dauntless Few with him. And, well, you have all kinds of trouble at that point.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Probably not Fulgrim, though, because he didn't seem to like two, from what I recall.
Or Kurz, because Kurz didn't really like anyone.
Of course.
Accurate.
I mean, because Kurz did like Fulgrim for a while, because he even trusted him enough to confide in him, and then Fulgrim told everyone, and Kurz was like, "Alright, well, fuck you too then, Fulgrim, you prick."
Also, I'm going to try and kill Dawn.
Yes. Well, in fairness, Dawn pissed him off, so never mind.
I mean, Dawn basically peeved everybody off by just talking too straight.
Yeah.
And then Leman Russ caused Dawn to flip a table.
That's interesting. Why?
Because he wanted to go and fight Horus.
Yeah, because the Space Wolves were at Terra, and then Russ goes, "Yeah, I'm going to go and fight Horus. You can't go, Leman. I'm going. No, Leman. I'm going. God damn it, Leman!"
Holy shit. That he would compromise a table.
Like, flip the table. Flip the table, teacups going everywhere, you know?
Character. So out of character.
My normal calm had been compromised. And then suddenly so was the table.
Oh, gosh.
I had to get one TTS reference in there.
I will accept this.
Oh, that reminds me.
That is fair.
I do have one question for Alf in regards to TTS. Will we have an episode in the future where Ferrus Manus eats sand? Because that is canon.
He's a
It
ghost.
is canon. He should. Yes.
Can he have a sandwich?
We will.
Like the bread's made of granola, like, I don't know.
I mean, if we were to revive Ferrus Manus for whatever reason, he should probably just persist on a diet of just sand. Like that I feel like that would be fair.
I like sand. It's coarse and rough and gets everywhere.
Just
Hand on
it
that
all over his
bombshell.
body.
Did you just say he rubs it over his body?
He lives in a sandbag.
The sand is chafing my iron nipples.
Pours it into his decapitated head hole.
And on that bombshell. Stop.
Time to die.
Right, if we're quite done.
Sand.
Yes, we're done. Okay. Right. Thank you, everybody, for watching this episode of Adeptus Podcastus. We do hope you have enjoyed it, despite the fact that it got very rambly in places, but that's a good thing, in my opinion. And we actually broke 2 hours, I think, this time. Again, not complaining.
Oh, boy, yeah. I'm sorry.
Don't be.
I'm sorry for being pressed. Oh, thank you for inviting me on, though, once more.
It's always a pleasure to have you, and you know you're welcome back. Basically, anytime schedules align.
Yeah, please invite me back to your 100th episode with, like, everyone else.
Oh, God, the mayhem.
And Ian Watson.
Yes, and Ian Watson. Ian Watson is also coming on.
So,
Finally.
Thank you very much, everybody. If you have enjoyed this, then let us know what you think in the comments below, as well as leaving your questions for the next episode with the word question in the front, because that makes it easier to find for the future. So, without further ado, this has been Tactica Imperialis.
This has been Remleiz from 40k Theories.
And this has been Alfabusa from Alfabusa.
Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Bye.